Hi, welcome to Street Priest Ministries. I'm your host, Brother Jay, as we take in the gospel back to the streets. Today's drive-through message is King Solomon. And the reason I chose this topic is because King Solomon illustrates the truth, and you'll see down the line of a man he had everything. He had it all. Rarely do you get it all. The man was very handsome. You get women just from that. So he had the looks. He had the wisdom, the charm that went with that. He had the wealth. Matter of fact, Solomon was the wealthiest man that ever lived. There's never been a man as rich as Solomon. He had gold like dust of the earth. So we're going to turn, first, I want you to read this for yourself. I'm going to fast track this. 1 Kings 11:3. Solomon also had 700 wives, exotic wives too, beautiful women. You know, everything he had was the best of everything. So he had 700 wives, 300 concubines. It's 1,000 women to juggle. Men out there, can you imagine juggling 1,000 women? I mean, what is it? 365 days into a year. So, reasonably thinking, if he had 365 days, that would be 365 whites. 365 wives. A wife for each night of the year. So you divide that into 1,000 and see what you come up with. So what is that? 3.5 years, 4 years? 4 is a rotation. A different wife every night. For about almost, I think you guys do the math, but I'm close. About 4 years. Wow. And God allowed it. Now, you read in 1 Kings 2:2, David was instructed to keep the law of God by his dad, King David. For you pagans and heathens out there, King David was a great warrior king in the Old Testament that consolidated the ancient Israel empire of his day. And Solomon was a result of an adulterous affair David had with Bathsheba, a Phoenician girl, I believe, or Syrian or Phoenician. Might be stand corrected, but anyway, she was a foreign woman, Hittite, I believe. Now that I think about it, and out of this illustrious affair, Solomon came. He also killed Uriah, murdered him. Had him sent to a battlefield to die in the area he knew he'd die. And that was his bodyguard for the David that he sent on that mission, so he can get his wife. Anyway, Solomon was a result of that affair, and God killed Solomon's older brother, the firstborn, because of the affair. But He allowed Solomon to live as well as giving David the right to give him the kingdom. Now, in by the way, 1 Kings 3:5-9. Let's read that. This is where Solomon is humble. Solomon is humble here. Before he comes to God the right way. But we'll read that. See, a lot of times when God exalts us, the Bible talks about learning how to be abased, how to be humble, and how to be exalted when God rises you to prominence. A lot of times we forget our humble beginnings. And God's quick to remind you in this book. He did it with several people. He reminded them when their heads got too big. And this is what happened with Solomon. 1 Kings 3, 5, 9. So 1 Kings 3, 5 through 9 we're going to read. And in Gibeon, the Lord appeared to Solomon in a dream by night. And God said, ask what I will give thee. And Solomon said, Thou hast showed unto thy servant David, my father, great mercy, according as he has walked before thee in truth, and in righteousness, and in uprightness of heart with thee. And thou hast kept for him this great kindness, that thou hast given him a son to sit on the throne, as it is this day. And now, O Lord my God, thou hast made thy servant king instead of David my father, and I am but a little child. So he's young when he ascends to the throne. And if I had to guess, I'm thinking he's around, anywhere between 11 and 13 years old. And I am but a little child, and I know not how to go out and come in. And thy servant is in the midst of thy people. So he's asking God, he said, they're going to look at me and laugh. I'm not seasoned warrior. I don't have the wisdom to go out and conduct myself as king. And thy servant in the midst of thy people, which thou hast chosen, a great people that cannot be numbered, nor counted for the multitude. Give therefore thy servant an understanding heart to judge thy people, that I may discern between good and bad. So he's asking God for wisdom to judge his people. For who is able to judge this people, a great people? And the speech pleased the Lord, that Solomon had asked this thing. And God said unto him, because thou hast asked this thing, and hast not asked for thyself long life, neither hast thou asked riches for thyself, nor asked the life of thine enemies. That's normal. And normally you ask for the life of your enemies, you ask for long life, you ask for riches. He said you didn't ask for none of these things. So since you did ask for it, I'm going to give it to you. So basically, what are you going to do? But thou hast asked for thyself understanding to discern judgment. Behold, I have done according to thy words. Lo, I have given thee a wise and understanding heart, so that there was none like thee before thee, neither after thee shall any arise like unto thee. And I have also given thee that thou hast asked both riches, of what you didn't ask for, both riches and honor, so that there shall not be any among the kings like unto thee all thy days. And if thou wilt walk in my ways to keep my statutes and my commandments, as thy father David did walk, then I will lengthen thy days. So that was conditional. He said, your long life depends on if you don't backslide or not, which he did do. So I wanted you to get that point, just to see that part, just to see his humble beginnings. So he started out on the right path with God. Now, all these wise, let's go to Deuteronomy, we're going to see. Well, what I do, I have you read that. Deuteronomy, I'll just sum it up. Deuteronomy 17, 14, 20 states that that you were not to amass. Everything he did, God didn't want. He didn't want you amassing horses. Horses were used for battle. He didn't want you to have a big army. So no amassing a large military. No multiplying of wives. Why? Because the wives leads you astray into adultery. That's what happened with it. And no accumulating of silver and gold. Now that's Deuteronomy 17, 14, 20. Now Solomon broke every single rule right here. Like I said, he was the wealthiest man. The God gave him wealth surpassed any man that lived. And God wanted his people to trust him and not depend on military might. He didn't want him being led astray by foreign women to serve other gods. God didn't want his people. And he didn't want the wealth to supplant him. See, the problem with wealth is The Bible says it's hard for a rich man to enter into the kingdom of heaven because you depend on your wealth. You can buy judges, you can buy and traffic human lives and people with your wealth, corrupt people. You like in essence become like a little mini God yourself, so you don't really need God. It's hard God to get your attention. That's why God says it's hard for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. It's like trying to thread a camel's hair, a piece of camel hair thread through a needle. I have a needle. It's almost impossible. But with God, all things are possible. There will be some rich men in heaven, just a few of them, because of this reason right here. They trusted in wealth and riches. Now, this is the fall of Solomon. You can read about it. 1 Kings 11:4, where his wives started to wear on him. As he got older with age, they started pressing in on him to serve other gods, and he served the worst gods, Moloch, and the idol worship that you can get a tribute in that day to a servant if you got a very pagan. Not only that, Solomon has been attributed to the ancient occult. Matter of fact, the Hebrew Kabbalah gives him a lot of credits and credence, as well as some of the ancient mystery religions of King Solomon. So, with his wisdom, he went all out and served the devil with it, and would piss God off, and God ended up renting the kingdom from him and cursing him because of it. But he led the people astray. Only because of his servant David did he not kill him. And he allowed him to, before the kingdom was taken, to live out his days as king. So you can read about that in 1 Kings 11:4, God's judgment, 1 Kings 11:11. Actually, just read all the way 4 to 11. God's anger for him turning his heart aside and serving false gods. Excuse me. Now, he was repentant after the judgment came down, and this is what he wrote. Now, Solomon wrote Proverbs, he wrote Ecclesiastes, and he wrote the Song of Solomon. So we're going to turn to Ecclesiastes 2:8 in the Bible. Now, this is him being repentant. After all, now Solomon was the richest man that ever lived. He had, like I said, he had gold like the dust of the earth, silver. He had precious gems, jewels. He got the best of everything. Solomon got the best of everything. The best looking women. He got rare gems and treasures that we can't even imagine. He had a city built to house all this treasure. He's the richest man that ever lived, the wealthiest. Money was nothing. Gold like the dust of the earth, and silver. So let's see what he says here about all this wealth that he had amassed and how he really felt about it. So we're going to go to Ecclesiastes. See, it's the reason I chose Solomon to be our backdrop to illustrate a point I really want to illustrate. And I just used him as a springboard to what I really wanted to get to, the subject matter. Now, this is what Solomon said. Remember, good looks, he's blessed with everything. Good looks, charm, wisdom, charisma, women of every stripe, wealth that surpassed even so-called playboy man. He was ultimate playboy. This was the jet setter. He was the original jet setter and playboy Solomon. As a matter of fact, Queen Sheba went and visited him. This is a historical fact, documented. And brought him gifts and treasures and went away pregnant. And knocked her up too. You come visit Solomon, you're going to go away pregnant. This is the way it is. So, Matter of fact, the Pharisees, I believe they're called, the black Jews, they call themselves, they're actually in it or in Israel, and proved their lineage and traced it back to them receiving the law and everything else, being proselytes of King Solomon himself, his mom. So anyway, 2:8, I gathered me also silver and gold and peculiar treasure. Now this is him witnessing and testifying of his life after he lost, well, he didn't lose everything, but let me rephrase that, after his judgment was passed on to him for idolatry worship. I gathered me also silver and gold and peculiar treasure of kings. And prophecies I got me singers and women singers. He had the best of everything. Best singers, best performers, best artists. And the delights of the sons of men as musical instruments, and that of all sorts. So I was great and increased more than all that were before me in Jerusalem. Also my wisdom remained with me. And whatsoever mine eyes, pay attention, mine eyes, mine. Remember, lust of the flesh, pride of life, lust of the eye. And whatsoever mine eyes desired, I kept not from them. I withheld not my heart from any joy. He's basically saying what Takama Buddha said, the founder of the Buddhist faith. He said he was a rich prince in India. And Takama Buddha said, I explored all treasure. I indulged myself in every delight, just like Solomon said. There's nothing that he didn't hold back from himself. And he came up with the eightfold path of nirvana to escape the path. But Solomon saying the same thing, and he lived before Buddha. And whatsoever mine eyes desired, I kept not from them. I withheld not my heart from any joy. He exposed himself to all pleasures. My heart from any joy, for my heart rejoiceth in all my labor, and this was my portion of all my labor. Then I looked on all the works that my hands had wrought, and on the labor that I had labored to do, and behold, all was vanity. See, this was all for nothing. All these, Solomon, he built Solomon's temple of Jerusalem. But he's also known for building other palatial palaces and things. People came around the world to see it. You know how the rich like to flaunt their wealth and show off. Nothing's changed. I mean, they're doing the same thing. Movie stars and billionaires, they love to show off their wealth, and they have other wealthy people come look at their wealth. It's nepotism at its greatest, its finest. So anyway, he did this, and he's saying vanity. It all came down to him for vanity. He said it was all vanity and vexation of spirit, and there was no profit under the sun. Now, this is a man that experienced everything. Many of you out there looking, you would cut your right arm off to have this experience Solomon had, to be the wealthiest, to get, all the pleasure and delights of this life. This man experienced the best of everything. The best foods, delicacies. People came from around the world, brought him the best ointments, precious jewels, treasures. He had a collection that nobody ever had in earth. And he summarized it at the end, vanity and vexation of spirit. It profited nothing, he said. Now, like I said, I use Solomon as a springboard. I could have just said it in this one verse right here. But I want to show you somebody that had it all and end up saying this. It makes a big difference. Then you and I saying it, I'm struggling like you are, and claiming God's promise. I give God's way. I do that, and claim His promises. The Bible does say, lay up treasures in heaven, and not treasures down here. Set your heart up there. This is how you do it. So all this had A roundabout way to getting around the stewardship. Turn to Mark 8:36. Okay, Mark 8:36. For what shall it profit a man if he should gain the whole world and lose his own soul? I said all this here, use Solomon as an example, just to say this one little verse right here. For what shall, this is Pastor Jesus preaching, for what shall it profit a man if he should gain the whole world and lose his own soul? What's your soul worth? What price tag you have on your soul? Was it $1 million? 10 million? 100 million? A billion? A trillion? What's your soul worth? When somebody said, I'll give you $10 trillion for your soul, would you sell? For what shall it profit a man if he should gain the whole world? The Bible saying the whole world. And everything in it. Is that profitable? If God must give you the whole world, you lose your own soul. Oh, excuse me, the God of this world. Let me rephrase that. Remember, he offered Christ that he took him up there on the mountain, showed him all the kingdoms, and he had the power to give it. Christ, as I've stated before, I taught in Temptation Mountain. You can get the video. Christ didn't argue with him. Said, "Oh, devil, get out of here! You ain't got the power." Yeah, you got it. Adam sold out to him. He's the leaseholder of the earth, right there. Called the God, little G. You still got to answer to the big G. Nobody more gangster than God. But for the time being, until the clock winds down on him, yeah, he the God of this world. He has the power to grant it. A lot of people sold out to get it. And still selling out. Sold they sold. To get these trinkets from the devil. For what shall it profit a man if he should gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul? Take it as the one that been to hell. I just taught on the matter of fact. Lazarus. Hellfire. Make sure you get that video too. Just taught him. Periodically, I got to do that. I want you to smell sulfur in your nose at all time. I want you guys to get through comfort with street priests and lose your healthy fear and respect of God. I'm sorry, backslide. It's great work with me. I had a personal tour, but that was quite a few years ago. But I could terrorize you with words. That's what my job is. Periodically, we'll return to hell. Just to keep that brimstone in your nose so you don't ever forget. And depart from God and backslide. So anyway, what's your soul worth? You to have price tags hanging out your ass, what's your soul worth? What shall a man give in exchange for his soul? So many people sold out. I've said before. For treasure you can't take with you. But you can exchange this treasure, as I was taught on, giving God's way. The Bible said, lay up, not up for yourselves treasure on earth, but moth and doth corrupt, but lay up for yourselves treasure in heaven, where neither moth nor doth corrupt, neither through thieves break through and steal. For one where one's treasure is, there will his heart be also. Excuse me. And I'm your exchanger right here. So bring your tithes, offerings, first fruit alabaster box here, and give God's way. Start doing it God's way. He could bless you here in this life, but definitely you'll be blessed in the next life. That's what faith is about. That's what this ministry is about. Proper stewardship and respect for God's word, God's leadership that gives you God's word. And take a good look, long look at Solomon, the richest man that ever lived. Had it all. And he came down to saying it profited nothing. Everything I had. And he had it. He had that to say it. All right. Good day. Good evening to you. God bless you. May you grow in faith and prosper. In faith, God's way, doing it his way, in Jesus' name. Goodbye.